Well, hey there, Elevate friends and family. It's great to have you with us for this week's Elevate Church online experience. I'm Mark Pomeroy, and we're excited to have you here, especially those of you joining us for the very first time. Now, before we go anywhere, let's just a reminder, I know everyone does this. If you haven't already subscribed, please subscribe just to make sure you don't miss out on a weekly, we put these together every single week, weekly episode of our online experience. If you've got a touch screen device, you can just tap our logo in the corner, boom, and it'll automatically allow you to subscribe. Now, we love to worship together from various four corners of the world. Do people still say that? And we have worship partners that allow us to do that. This week's worship partner, well, he is a fresh breath of energy. His name's Stephen Malcolm, and well, you might not have heard of him. And you might not be familiar with these two songs that we're going to put up, but the words will be on the screen. And I just encourage you just to open your heart, allow God to connect, and let's worship our amazing God together.
So undeserving, and yet we worship, giving all the praise, just humble servants, till sweat and tears, till no more fears, singing the glory of the gospel out to every ear. You covered me with grace, and a love so unconditional, it's got me on my face every day, God. Ay, be the praise of the saints, and louder goes my praise every day. Ay, yeah.
Even if the drum stops beating, ay, my soul will keep on singing.
Say even louder. Let the church say
even louder.
Hey, hey.
Even when my eyes can't see it, I will sing till I believe it.
Let the church say
even louder.
Everybody say even louder. Hey, hey.
Till I believe it. Even louder.
Let the church say
even louder.
Yeah, my God is stronger than any sin that I hold. More precious than any silver and gold, yeah. I told myself that my sin made me unworthy, but truth is I'll never be perfect, but Christ took the burden. Me, I give my all, despite my downfalls. Where many see me fail, only you see me prevail. The bigger depression hits, the louder my praise get. The bigger depression hits, the louder my praise get. Hey!
Even if the drum stops beating,
my soul
will keep on singing.
Hey, even louder, let the church say even louder. Hey,
even when my eyes can't see it, I will sing till I believe it.
Everybody say even louder, let the church say
even louder. When I lift my voice,
yeah.
heaven comes to it.
Ay.
When I sing this song,
I hear you respond, God.
I feel you respond.
Through the pain, through the struggle,
When I
through the anxiety, through the depression, there's one source that is eternally perfect, that reigns, that is bigger than the brokenness that is on this earth. Yeah, his name is Jesus.
Even if the drum stops beating,
My soul
will keep on singing.
Everybody say even louder. Let the church say
even louder.
Hey, 'cause
even when my eyes can't see,
I'll sing till I
will
believe
sing
tonight,
till
God.
I believe
Let the church say even louder. Everybody say
even louder.
yeah. I pray against depression today. I pray against anxiety. We serve a God who reigns today, forever and ever. Yeah.
And even if the drum stops beating, my soul will keep on singing.
Let the church say
even louder.
God's people say
Even louder.
Not to us,
Heavenly Father, we thank you for this moment,
to us, Lord, but to
that we
your
are able to
name we
use
give glory.
our gift
Glory
to glorify the God of the universe.
not to us,
Heavenly Father, I thank you for this opportunity.
to us, Lord.
Thank you for using CCLI as a vessel for your kingdom, for the bad guy. And I thank you for the transformation of my heart. And I pray, Lord, that you empty us and fill us up with your spirit. In Jesus' name, amen.
Oh, I was lost, yeah, but now I'm found, yeah. You pick me up, yeah, when I'm so down, yeah. You switched it up and shook the ground, yeah. You showed me mercy,
Ay.
yeah. You got that good love.
Hold up, wait a minute, what you thought I didn't know? Blessing coming by the second, faithful and available. I just wanna praise a little, you deserve it, all of me. Put that word all on my soul, giving you glory, all I know. Like, hold up, thinking about them days, had to working about a 20-hour week, picking up shoes. Hated it, but you know I pay my dues. Hated it, but you know I pay my dues, yeah. Gotta steward it well, from serving locally to serving globally, yeah. From a broke hoodlum to me break dancing in Jerusalem, yeah. Hey,
But now I'm found,
hey,
you pick me up
yeah, when I feel,
down.
hey,
You switched it up
and shook the
ground.
yeah,
You showed me mercy,
hey,
you said I'm worth it.
now all I can do is thank you, cause you got that
good love, yeah.
got me and my mama out there, no weapon formed
Kiss me up
in my neighborhood,
love,
cause you got that
good love.
yeah, you got that
good
Hey, I was homeless, broke with not a cent, pocket full of dreams and lit, watching all who profit or lose sight of why they got it, yeah. I remember winter days, we had no heat, sleeping in my jacket in my mama crib on Lafayette Street. Okay, now I got signed and leveled up on them. No, I'm not boasting, I just wanna flaunt them. Bought me a crib with a lake and a gate. Nah, I'm just kidding, but the future look great. Came a long way from that studio. The struggle's still real, but I'm Gucci though. To a 2-bedroom, me and Mark coolin', taking life in one night at a time. Yeah,
But now I'm found,
yeah,
you pick me up, yeah.
when I
I'm so
feel,
down,
yeah,
you switched it up
and shook the
ground.
yeah, you showed me mercy. Yeah, you said I'm worth it. Now all I can do is thank you, cause you got that good hey, yeah, got me and my mama out there, no weapon formed in my neighborhood, cause you got that good love, yeah, you got that good love. Well, hey there, Elevate friends and family. Great to have you with us today for the third week of our series Fresh Start, which is this year's annual series on biblical principles for financial management. Now, in week 1, we looked at something that Jesus taught in his Sermon on the Mount, where he basically said that as followers of Jesus, we don't need to worry about tomorrow, that God knows our needs and that he'll take care of our needs. Now, he didn't say don't plan for tomorrow, but that's something that you can get on our podcast. You can also get week 2, where we talked about spend wisely, that Solomon in his book of wise Proverbs reminded us that wise people don't spend everything they earn. They actually cultivate a pattern when it comes to their income and their expenses of actually creating some margin of living beneath their means, spending less than they earn. And with that margin, we're going to talk a bit about that today, there's more peace and more purpose and more freedom. So listen, if you missed either of those messages, they're really vital because we're going on a bit of a journey here throughout this series. So you can download our Elevate Church AU app and our podcast is there, or just go to your favorite podcast platform, search Elevate Church Perth, and you'll find those first 2 weeks messages. Now, last week I shared this graph, and look, just to really quickly slice and dice it, there's 3 lines here, and the middle line is this idea of that's our income. And it kind of points to the idea that over time our income will typically rise. Maybe it's a promotion, change of job, maybe it's just like a CPI increase, but you know, the idea that it will change. Now, there's 3 groups of people who respond differently, who have the same income with 3 different outcomes. The middle group, and that's actually overlaid on the income line, are people who spend everything they earn. We call these the broke group. And
it points to the idea that it doesn't matter if you earn $50,000 or $1 million. If you earn $50,000 a year and spend $50,000 a year, and someone else earns $1 million a year and spends $1 million a year, guess what? They'll have the exact same bank account balance at the end of the year. Zero. There's another group, which we call the debt group. These are the people that are in the habit of spending more than they earn. Personal loans, credit cards, buy now, pay later. And then there's a third group, and this is the group that spend less than they earn, and they live with some margin. And I'm putting it to us in this series that God's best is for us to ultimately find ourselves and move towards the margin group. And it's the margin group that experience more peace, more purpose, and more freedom when it comes to finances. Now, if you're in the debt group or if you're in the broke group, last week we put out a couple of useful tips or resources that come from Dave Ramsey. If you go to his website, ramseysolutions.com, and click on the free resources, you'll see a resource called 7 Baby Steps. Now, it's pretty self-explanatory, certainly unpacks it on that website. Very, very simply, he talks to this idea that if you're in debt or you're broke, take a baby step and create a $1,000 emergency fund. Just find a little bit of money weekly, fortnightly, monthly, maybe sell some things, appliances you don't use from your kitchen, stuff that's stored in your shed that you haven't touched for 3 years, and get to where you've got $1,000 just literally socked away in case something breaks. Because when it breaks, you don't have to panic because you've got $1,000 ready. Now, once you've got that $1,000, use that the skills and the knowledge and the disciplines that you're building and start to, number 2, pay down debt. Dave Ramsey has an approach called the Debt Snowball. It's all on that very same website. And now I want to take us today to baby step number 3 out of Dave's 7 baby steps. And baby step number 3 kind of builds on baby step number 1 to create an emergency fund. Only this step, he recommends creating a 3 to 6 months of living expenses emergency fund. And it's the idea that, if you lose your job, if something significant goes wrong in your life, that you've actually got a 3 to 6 month runway that's going to prevent you from needing to go back into debt. It sounds bold, it sounds ambitious, and it probably won't happen in a day or a week or a month, maybe not even in a year, but it's certainly an aspirational goal and something that you can take the knowledge, the skills, the disciplines that you've been applying in creating a $1,000 emergency fund. You roll those over into eliminating debt. Now just keep it going. Just keep that journey, that progression going. And we're really starting to talk now about saving. And that's the topic today, saving for the future. And listen, if you're in debt or if you're broke and you can't quite see a way out of it, please don't tune out. Because I want to encourage you to make saving and creating margin an aspirational goal or a faith goal. Say, I haven't been able to do that. I'm not even sure I can see a way towards that. But look, I want to say to you, it is possible. It might not be easy. It might not be quick. It's probably going to take some good old-fashioned hard work, sacrifice. We're going to talk today about the need for planning. But I just want to say, God can give you a fresh start, and he can be with you to move you and help you move in that direction from debt to broke to margin. Now, has anyone out there ever dreamt of winning the lottery? Probably you have, and if you have, probably you've played this game. Like if I win the lottery, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to pay off my mortgage. We're going to go on an overseas holiday. I'm going to give some to charity. We have to say that make sure we don't sound selfish and greedy. You know, maybe even buy all of my friends a helicopter each. You might have seen this, there's a whole thing floating around on social media, these memes, which are tagged, if I won the lottery, I wouldn't tell anyone, but there'd be signs. And in 2025, with the cost of living being what it is, somebody put up this one. Yeah, that's someone you know must have won the lottery because they've got a full shopping trolley of groceries and a full tank of petrol. Things I'd do if I won the lottery. Well, today I actually want to talk about the power of dreams and goals and plans for our future and how God can really be with us to move us in the direction of a better future. All right. If you've got your smartphone camera, how about you scan this flow code? It's going to take us to the first book of the Bible, Genesis chapter 41. Now, while you're doing that, let me give you a little bit of context. We're going to drop into a chapter in the life of a guy named Joseph. Now, the backstory, before we get to where I want to land us today, the backstory is Joseph had some brothers. Joseph became like dad's favorite. The brothers didn't like that very much. They were jealous. And so they decided to get rid of Joseph and they threw him in a ditch. Eventually, from that very unfortunate circumstance, Joseph got sold into slavery, which you think, okay, well, it's better than being in a ditch. Maybe, except for while he was in slavery, he got accused of a crime that he didn't actually commit and he got thrown into prison. So now he's in prison, which also in prison having not actually been guilty. He's now in prison. So he's gone from a ditch into prison. Not good. But what we're going to see, and if you were to read this slice of Joseph's life for yourself, you're going to see that God was with him in the ditch. God was with him in the prison, and he's going to continue to be with him into the future. Our circumstances on the outside are not the defining clue as to whether God is with us and whether God is working on our behalf, because actually whilst Joseph was in prison, he got a reputation for being able to interpret people's dreams. Like with God's help, he was able to interpret people's dreams. Now, while that was happening, Joseph's in prison and just, occasionally interpreting people's dreams. Pharaoh, who was the Pharaoh of Egypt and the most powerful man in the known world, had a dream. In fact, he had two dreams. And the first dream was he dreamt of 7 fat, plump, healthy cows being devoured by 7 thin, sickly cows. And then in the second dream, he dreamt of 7 plump, healthy stalks of wheat being swallowed up by 7 scorched heads of grain. He was kind of disturbed by this and really wanted to get to the bottom of it. Like, what do these 2 dreams mean? So he had the people from his palace who he thought might be able to interpret the dreams, and look, nothing. They couldn't do it. Fortunately, one of Pharaoh's personal assistants, he had heard about Joseph. So he said to Pharaoh, I think I know a guy. And so Pharaoh sent for Joseph. Joseph came into the palace and explained to Pharaoh that, yeah, I can tell you what these dreams mean. The plump cows and the plump heads of grain, they actually represent 7 years of prosperity, of abundance that Egypt's going to experience. And then the sickly cows that devour the healthy cows, the scorched heads of grain that consume the healthy heads of grain, they represent 7 years of famine that are going to follow the 7 years of abundance. Well, we pick it up. The writer records, then Pharaoh said to Joseph, well, since God has revealed the meaning of the dreams to you, clearly no one else is as intelligent or wise as you are. you'll be in charge of my court, and all my people will take orders from you. Only I, sitting on my throne, will have a rank higher than yours. This is insane. Joseph's life has gone from a ditch to a prison and now to a palace, but not just in the palace. He's got the promotion of basically running Egypt, like the COO of Egypt, but it kind of isn't entirely a mystery. Because when you go back and read Joseph's time in slavery, when you go back and read Joseph's time in prison, he was actually honing his organizational and leadership skills in those two settings, as well as this idea that God was, helping him interpret dreams. So when he found himself standing before the most powerful person in the known world, he was somewhat qualified to run the country. I mean, it was still a step up, but what an incredible thing. And I really want us to understand that when it comes to our finances, we actually need to get educated. We need to understand how finances work. If you don't know how money works, if you don't know how finances work, if you don't educate yourself in how to make a budget and a plan and how to execute that plan, then it's literally nearly impossible to be effective in managing money. So Joseph, before we even get to see what he did, having been put in charge of running Egypt, he was preparing himself. He was getting ready. He was positioning himself for promotion. Well, after interpreting Pharaoh's dream, and I'm going to back it up in this slice of Genesis, Joseph actually gave Pharaoh a plan. Like, this is what that dream means, and then outlined a detailed strategy. Then Pharaoh should appoint supervisors over the land and let them collect 1/5 of all the crops during the 7 good years. Have them gather all the food produced in the good years that are just ahead and bring it to Pharaoh's storehouses. Store it away. In other words, save it up. And guard it there so there'll be food in the cities. And that way there will be enough to eat when the 7 years of famine come to the land of Egypt. Otherwise, this famine will destroy the land. Now, you might have heard your grandmother tell you, save for a rainy day. Well, guess what? The best time to save for a rainy day is when there are no clouds in the sky. And this is exactly the strategy that Joseph's presenting to Pharaoh. Prepare for the emergency, the 7 years of famine, while there's actually an abundant harvest. In other words, create a savings plan ahead of time. Create margin and don't just blow it. Create a savings plan. And a savings plan is kind of like one aspect of a monthly budget. Now, like a monthly budget's got expenses and multiple line items. But the wise play is to ensure there's a line item, or get to where you can create a line item with this margin that you've got, or that you've created for yourself, a saving plan. This line item is, I'm going to allocate this amount to saving. And here's the great thing. In 2025, it's easier than ever when you're managing your finances to actually designate some towards savings. The banking apps for many banks actually allow you to do this. I checked here in Australia, I checked the ANZ app, I checked the CommBank app, I checked the Bank West app. They've all got their own versions of how you can actually, in your entire account, actually allocate some of that to savings, like designate it to savings. And in fact, you can even automate it. Just set it up so when your income comes in, a percentage goes out. Now, as predicted, for 7 years, the land produced bumper crops. During those years, Joseph gathered all the crops grown in Egypt and stored the grain from the surrounding fields in the cities. He piled up huge amounts of grain like sand on the seashore. Finally, he stopped keeping records because there was too much to measure. And I wonder how many of you would love to have a too much to measure problem. And I'm not going to speak to that today. But here's the takeaway. The fact that he stopped keeping records implies that he was initially keeping records. He had a goal, and he had a plan, and he tracked that plan. He knew where it was coming from, and he knew where it was stored up. Bold dreams plus consistent actions, measured, tracked, evaluated, are the things that will change your future. Now, final thought, we're going to discover in a second, saving isn't just for emergencies. I mean, it's very wise to have that savings for emergencies, particularly that baby step number 3, a 3 to 6 month emergency fund. But savings are also, the wise play can position us to take advantage of opportunities that when God brings them across our path, we're both willing and able to step into those opportunities or take advantage of those opportunities. And this idea that don't just make the plan work, make the plan count, having margin for more purpose with your finances. In fact, what happened with Joseph and the nation of Egypt during this 7 month of famine, which eventually came, people from all around came to Egypt to buy grain from Joseph because the famine was severe throughout the world. What an incredible thing to have said about you, that your saving didn't just save you, didn't just impact you, it impacted other people. It impacted generations and it impacted nations. We're going to get into this. We're going to talk about giving and next time, which is in 2 weeks' time from today. And really this bigger vision beyond ourselves of legacy building, of generosity, of growing not just our savings capacity, but ultimately our giving capacity. So I look forward to sharing that with you then. Now, I just landed the message talking about giving and generosity and impacting other people. So I'm not necessarily going to say anything more than that. Just point you to our website. You'll see that elevatechurch.me on the screen. Go to the give section there and you'll see how you can give using debit card, credit card, or if you're in Australia, a direct deposit into Elevate's bank account. And that just allows us to reach people and build people just like you all around the world. Now, the other way you can give is just download our Elevate Church AU app. You can find this on the Google or the Apple Store. We'll actually put up the flow code here. You can scan that and download our app. It's got the give section, but it's got this online experience, so you can go back and watch this from any portable device where your app's installed. There's our weekly podcast, which is actually a version of the message that we record online, but actually delivered in our live experience here in Perth. So you can listen to that anywhere you like. There's some great stories. There's our Elevate group notes that you can use to there's a bit of a supplemental Bible study, if you like, around the messages that we've been preaching. Anyway, lots of great resources. If you haven't already, download that app. It'll be a blessing to you. All right, that's it for us today. Next week, our great friend and teaching team member, Steve Hall, is going to deliver a one-off banger. Steve's last message with us is actually one of our most watched and listened messages in the last 12 months. So I'm pretty confident Steve's going to bring something that's going to bless you. And then the following week, we're going to land the fourth and final installment of our series, Fresh Start. See you then, friends.